So how you doing, man?
Fantastic.
Number
So,
16 of the
okay,
History Cash. What's up,
right,
bud?
episode 16. That's up, man. That's up. Guys, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Now that
Right?
I
Yeah.
think about it, how
Yeah.
long has it been? Has it been a month? A full month?
Nah, we tried in Croatia when I was in Croatia, like doing the podcast thing.
True.
For there was like 2 weeks ago or something.
That was.
Oh,
That was 2 weeks ago, though.
It was like.
Oh,
It
I
was,
guess it was maybe. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
or maybe 3.
or 3.
I think I would say 3. I would put my money on 3 because I think we were like, okay, let's try at least first week of the whole month,
Maybe.
and then we were like, okay, we will not talk again for 3
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. Yeah, it was just a fucking mess, man. Whew, fuck, man. It's so hot, man. I just had to pull off my t-shirt, man. I put.
Oh shit!
Send pics.
Yeah.
You have to document that.
Guys, it's like so I'm back in Austria, right? And the temperatures are like fucking tropical here. It's like since a couple of days, 37, 35 fucking degrees. And I'm near the fucking Alps.
So that's.
So does that make it worse, or like what does that? I guess you're closer to the sun. I don't know how that works.
No, man. I will be closer. No, actually, the higher you go up, the higher you're closer to space. Right? You know, because I don't know how this stuff works.
Okay, yeah, checks out. Wow, you sure gave up fast on that one.
Yeah, just like, you know what? Before I start talking into direction, I have actually no fucking clue. I'm just gonna stop immediately.
I was gonna say that's why Greek gods all have like amazing tans because they were so close to the sun all the time in Mount Olympus.
Ooh,
So
maybe.
they look like amazing, like Miami vibes, beautiful people.
Now that you say that, though, I wonder how they felt about Apollo, though. 'Cause they would have been like, "Come on, dude, can't you drive further away? Can you take a break?"
Or closer?
Yeah, but now that I think about it, when Apollo was kind of the source of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So shouldn't he be like real like black?
Yeah. Just straight up burnt.
Yeah. Completely.
And and like, and the other thing is like, they're gods, okay, but are they immune against cancer?
Yeah. Maybe they just didn't know about it, Maybe they just didn't have the medicine at the level that we have it today. So they didn't know. That's why we don't have them today.
Yeah.
That's why the gods didn't make it.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. Why you think we have no gods? Like it's over.
Yeah, and the reason they died was because of cancer.
Just cancer from Apollo. Apollo was the first one to go.
Yeah. Fuck, man. So he thought like he was probably like Marie Curie with the when she found that not uranium.
Radiation. What's it?
I'm butchering her name, and Marie Curie. The scientist woman.
Yeah, the one that found like radiation, or that.
Right. And she found that. I forgot the name of that radioactive stuff. It was not uranium. It was something very radioactive, but it was super fucking high radioactive. But you know what was the funny part? It was only radioactive. The radiation did not go very far. You had to be like really fucking close to it that it affected you. But it was really fucking strong. So it was like, it came out a little bit of the source, and then it basically died down quickly. Evaporated, whatever. And because she, was wearing it really close to her, like on her chest, that's why she absorbed the whole thing,
Oh my god.
Damn.
Yeah, like, I found this thing, it's radiating, so I'm just gonna keep it as close as I can to my body. Like,
oh, she proved boss right, she proved us wrong. Like,
She's like, nope. The people, like modern scientists will be like, miss, this stuff is gonna give you cancer. She's like, I don't care. it's
Trying
it's
to
my
prove a
stuff.
point over here, right?
I'm gonna keep it, but you're gonna die. Yeah, but it's my stuff.
But I figured out, and the other thing about that is that so I heard an example about like radiation recently that I really liked. And I was telling Edward about it, but I was listening to an interview with this guy known as Bob Lazar, and he was like the one who essentially put like Area 51 on the map because he was the first person to like kind of like talk about his experience there. And well, not there, but at another facility around there. But anyway, on his experience, he was explaining how he was working on a reactor that was doing all kinds of things that we do not understand, or we did not understand back when he worked on it. All kinds of things that like ignore physics or don't seem to like work on physics and all those kind of things. And we look at that kind of stuff and we're like, damn, it's science that we don't understand. But if you were to take a nuclear reactor and put it down in like Victorian times or like medieval times, they would start like opening it up and be like, damn, this thing's like producing a lot of energy or a lot of electricity or whatever it is.
So shiny.
Yeah, but they're like, what is it? And eventually they would break through the plating and they would all start dying from radiation. And they would be like, holy shit, this is like the devil. And people who would come in and try to like check on them would also die from radiation. And then people who would come in and check on those guys would also die from the radiation. So, all those people would be like, holy shit, this thing is not radioactive. It's the devil.
You just described the plague, I think.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's a good point.
You just described the plague. Whoa, what's going on with these people? Let me go check. Oh, now I have it. Oh, let me go check. Now I have it.
Yeah, but the thing with the plague was, it was spreading, and the nuclear and the nuclear stuff, you have to be close to the source.
But can the nuclear stuff kind of like stick to you though?
Yeah, but not in that amount that other people get
not
cancer.
Not that crazy. Okay. Maybe it's another kind of radiation that we don't know about.
Yeah. Unless you like were taking a full bath in it,
Yeah.
and then drinking it.
You can put it on your salad as a dressing.
Fuck. Yeah. Like if you would have that amount of radiation that other people would get cancer, no, you would burn. You would just burn.
You would be getting this.
It's fucking crazy, man. But the plague, man, fuck, man. Yeah, man, that must have been like a fucking disaster. I was reading about not the plague, but I saw something else, like, is the pox or like the measles or something, which yeah, something like that, which eradicated like Mexico. But Mexico, I don't remember when it was, like a couple hundred years ago. Mexico had a population of 22 million people or something, and 20 million got like just like eliminated by this plague, by this, not the Black Plague, I think it was like measles or something. So basically, like almost, yeah, every 10th person survived, 9 out of 10 died or something.
Jesus.
I guess I don't know. I guess I didn't know about that, but I think the thing with measles does is that like it essentially like fucks your immune system. So maybe it's not the measles that's so bad; it's that your immune system goes out. So then you have no defenses, and you're constantly fighting things. Your body's constantly fighting things.
Well, yeah.
And so I'd imagine if you lose that, if the police don't go to work, it's gonna be chaos.
Isn't that? But didn't you just describe HIV?
Holy shit!
We gotta keep doing this.
We are not experts.
Wait, didn't you just describe the common cold?
Bro, like, I hope people who are listening don't take us for our word. Do your own research. We have no fucking
Google
clue
it,
what
see
you're
what
talking about.
happens. Yeah, Google it, see what happens. You're gonna get the same fucking answer. You have cancer, so like we're not so far from the truth, all right? We might be
Like,
close
yeah,
to you expect.
we're pseudoscientists. Ah, fuck. That's a lot of touching a lot of topics, but actually not really like understanding it through like
Yeah, so basically when you have a sore throat.
Yeah. So HIV, like apparently that was somebody that had sex with a monkey. That's what they said.
That started chain?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like monkeys had it, and then
in
somebody was
Africa.
like, "Oh, I'll tap that," and then they were like, "Oh, I'll tap a human too," and then HIV. Like
Yeah.
that's this
Or
whole
maybe the
story.
okay, I guess I can see that.
And then other
So,
people just keep saying, "I'll tap that," but they had
right.
HIV, and now
So
everybody has it. They said
that
no.
person. So that I just was thinking, when that person, man, who had sex with a monkey, I, I, I I guess that
I guess.
person, man, did not hold back at all with anything.
How did you know he wasn't a submissive type though? Maybe that monkey was
Maybe,
the
maybe
one
it
that
was the
started
monkey that got to it.
Maybe the monkey raped him.
No, like, well, I was thinking more like seduce him, like brought some
A romantic.
bananas over.
A little wink.
Uh-huh. And the person was like, you know what? Nothing's going well for my life right now.
At least a little bit of pleasure.
Oh
And
shit.
I wonder if I wonder if the monkeys are like, did you know the first one who got it, like they had sex with a human and they
Yeah.
got it from a human? Because I'd imagine if the monkeys got it, they must have gotten it from something.
Oh, that would be interesting, right? To know
Hmm.
how they. Well, maybe they just build it at home, though. I mean, man.
I mean, maybe the HIV virus is something like the cold for us, for it's the same for them. So like
Oh,
like you know what I mean. I don't think it affects them like it affects us.
I mean that's a great assessment for us that we don't know anything about it. So I agree. I think that's a really cool observation. Actually, that would be really funny, right? Like we're all over here dying from it or getting like things. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what it does.
Yeah. I heard a long time ago there's a strand because there's like multiple different types of HIV, and
Oh,
there's a strand that is like really really common. I think like out of the world population, it's like a third that has it or something like that. And that's not like the one that people are always like worried about. But I heard that there's like one of them that's like really common. I don't remember. I remember like hearing about it and then looking it up and seeing it, and then years later looking it up again and not finding it. So I don't know. I don't know if I built that memory or what happened with it, but yeah.
False memories or like conspiracies. Maybe somebody removed it from the internet.
So
yeah. 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 Oh my god.
And they have
Okay,
to be
okay.
very powerful, man, to remove it from the internet.
I mean, we have something that can search for terms all over the internet. So there must be like that must have like an extra function, just like search, AIDS, that delete,
Yeah, don't
parentheses,
show.
and
Ah,
it just kills
Yeah.
it. Like there must be a way. It's all just files at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, if you
Yeah.
think of like, for example, like the dark web, I think the idea behind that is that the stuff that you search in Google is just like the tip of the iceberg, the part of the iceberg that is above water, but then that's just like maybe like 1% of the whole block of ice because the rest is underwater. And so maybe the search engines do the similar thing that, yeah, there's this whole group of there's this huge piece of the internet that it can't search because it's not indexed, which is the dark web. But then maybe there's another like huge piece of it that's it's saying, "Oh, we won't show you this. We're gonna like hide this part of the internet as well."
For sure. Actually, I mean, it might be even to their own like benefit, to hide certain things. But you mentioned the dark web, man, and oh my, like that's been popping up a lot recently in my feed, like in my actually Google, I guess. It's just And a friend talked to me about it. She found out about it for the first time, and I haven't researched. I just know rumors of it, or like myths of it that I get from shows and stuff like that. And I've been kind of curious to be like, okay, I should maybe know what this is. But part of me is like, I'm also not that curious in that way. Like, because I feel like a lot of people got like morbid curiosity on it. Like, oh my God, that way, what is it? What they do? Yeah, like fucking illegal as hell stuff, and other things that maybe are not illegal. I don't know. But like, that's kind of what it is. And I kind of don't want to know about it too much, but at the same time, it's like maybe I should know a little bit about it, but I don't know what. What would be the point of it? Because I don't intend to use it. I don't think.
Man, so I had this topic, and I think we talked about this last time when I was in Croatia, where it's just too much to research. No, I was not. I don't think it was with you guys. Was it with you guys when I talked about Bluetooth and giving cancer? And
yeah,
I think we touched on it. I think we touched.
Yeah.
We think we touched on it, and I was sitting in the circle with these people, and they were talking about these all different kind of technologies and the harms of them, right? Which to understand the technology, you have just invest so much time to research it and find the prime sources, and proper sources and whatever, and just be like, hey, and then you have to distinguish between good and bad resources and etc. And also like not being biased at the same time when it comes to the researches and the results that pop up. So much time to just research one thing, and man, you just can't, man. You will be researching only. You can spend your whole life just researching the things that you're using. And one of the guys was like, man, but it's your duty, It's like it's your responsibility to do that. Now, like, I'm getting that, but I'm choosing not to do it because like, man, I just want to have a nice life, man, and relax and shit.
And that's the thing, because you could spend all that time doing the research, but still not find the answer. Still not find the one like true answer. And figure out what's actually going on with that technology.
Yeah.
In a way, we could say that Bluetooth is being researched right now, right? Like with us.
Yeah.
We are test subjects in a way. If it turns out it's really bad, then we'll like do away with it. But we were test subjects.
But then that's the thing, if it turns out that in a few years everyone who's been wearing like Bluetooth like headset just like tips over and dies, and we ban Bluetooth, we still wouldn't know what caused it, because Bluetooth is I would imagine, and again we're not experts in anything.
In anything, right?
I would imagine
exactly.
We got our name already for this episode.
I would imagine Bluetooth is like a combination of things, right? So maybe if you remove one of those things, people no longer get cancer. But since we wouldn't really know, and we would just kind of like ban it, and it would become kind of like that devil metaphor from the medieval ages. We wouldn't find a solution anyway. So maybe it's a bunch of other stuff, and if we did more lifetimes of research, we would find it, but otherwise we wouldn't. So it still stays as a problem, I feel, even if we ban it. If we do something like that about it.
I mean, what we know about Bluetooth, it's just, like Wi-Fi, radio, Bluetooth, they're all just frequencies that work on a different wavelength. Right? So like, there's like, radio waves have like long wavelengths. They're slow, but they go like very, very fucking far and can cover like huge, long range areas, right? And Bluetooth are small wavelengths, and they are like able to, travel fast, but only short distances.
I see.
And so the cancer thing, with the Bluetooth 2.0, like 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, the one thing that changes, I just must ask myself, it might be the same thing with the 3G, 4G, and 5G, the intensity of which the frequencies actually get pushed out.
Okay.
So it's like, and yeah.
So it's like the first one would be like a drop of water, and then the fifth one it's like a hose, just like shooting out a bunch of water, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So same when you right, and that, so that's what one of the guys actually told me at the Mind Valley thing. That he's like, at the time when they made the Wi-Fi and all this stuff, they had to choose a frequency, and they had to take one that was not taking already. So that chose that one, and that one was okay. And then they started like pushing the signal more and more with like the 2G and the 3G and the 4G, and now the 5G is just like an extreme push of the signal in that same frequency, which is now like like short wavelengths that really like penetrating like more. So the speed is this, like usually it's like an impulse that comes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and now with a stronger signal, it just pushes more waves out in the same amount of time. And therefore it's like it just penetrates more and more and more, and they go like more intensity, they go like also like further. So the reason why people might get now cancer and didn't get it maybe like 10 years ago, whatever, if people get cancer, we don't know that yet, might be just by the change of intensity of which the frequency get actually pushed out.
So what it sounds to me is that what we don't understand is how waves affect us in like how connected we are to waves and like molecule movement, I guess, something like that, like we just know they are there, we can use them, but we don't know like maybe in the body what it does or in some other level.
Yeah, and I guess now that I'm thinking about this, recently I was listening to this talk by Nassim Harriman, and he was explaining how basically maybe everything is made out of literally the same thing, but that same thing is vibrating at different frequencies, and that's what makes the world that we see. But even things like he says that we haven't like ever touched anything. You've never ever touched anything because since everything is vibrating, there's always like a space that even if you can't perceive it, there's a space in between you and your other hand. If you're like holding both of your hands. So maybe there's something like really crazy about the way frequencies work that maybe like our brain is like, oh no, we can't go there. This has to stay in this like weird space of like mystery, because our brain is like, this is your mind will literally snap if you like dive too far in there.
It's like fabric of reality kind of talking.
Exactly.
Yeah, the stuff with the frequencies is very interesting also, because first of all, if everything vibrates on a different frequency, and you maybe know it from science fiction, that's also a topic that gets sometimes touched on, where they make, let's say, a machine or something, and they pole it in a way that, for example, you have a chair and you pole it in a way that it matches the frequency of the chair, and so the machine destabilizes the field of the chair, or the chair itself, because it matches the frequency, and it just falls apart in like basically it dissolves, not dissolving, but like it just
fucks up the chair.
Yeah, just like evaporating. It's just like like the structure's falling apart on a molecule level. That thing, right?
That sounds.
Yeah, I think awesome. You should make weapons out of it.
Nice. So you're assuming they aren't?
You know how cool it would be, like, man, just like have such a machine and just being able to walk through walls.
Maybe Area 51 stands for Area 51 ways to kill a nigga, like.
Yeah, gangster.
Yeah, maybe they just have weapons there, It's not even aliens. It's like maybe they have aliens, but like aliens that we killed with weapons, like.
Weapons like this. Man, I remember one time I was hearing about if you were to have something like 3D printing, but for like chemistry, and you would be like really good at like bioengineering weapons. You could bioengineer a cold, for example, that would only get one person, like one very specific person. So I wonder if you could make that same thing with like a weapon with vibration that would only target like one person in the whole planet. So, there's one person that they like needs to be assassinated, and that person is just like walking down their yard and then just vanishes. Just kind of like the way what happens with the Avengers. Maybe maybe that's where they got the idea. It's people just like vanishing out of the blue like that.
Man, now that you say that, man, there's a science fiction TV show, man, and I fucking like it, but I forgot the name. I just forgot the name. But it's about bounty hunters in space.
Bounty hunters.
Cowboy Bebop? That's
no, man. It's live action, man. Season 4 just came out like a couple months ago or something, and now the last season 5 is gonna come out end of the year, man. I fucking love it. And they have actually, now that I remembered, in season 1 or 2, something like that, they had like a machine which targets not the frequency but the DNA of a certain person, and then eliminates basically everybody that has a similar DNA or like is part of the same family. It's like a DNA bomb or something.
Damn.
And also like super far reach. So like a biological thing, whatever, or not a technical thing that just like fucks everybody up. So they take just a drip of blood of somebody and then know like, okay, boom, this is the target. So like very specific killing.
Man, I wonder if with that weapon also comes like, because I would imagine like the process is you get that drop of blood from the person, you're like, okay, this is the DNA strand, and then you also go and you test your own family to make sure that none of them have that DNA strand, and then you're like, okay, I can use it on Jerry's family now, because I know that for sure no one from Jerry's family has messed with my family. Because imagine it with like how DNA is shared. If you were to like use this thing that would wipe out someone else's entire family, maybe they're your cousin.
Maybe you would lose an arm only. Yeah. Like I have 15% of that people, so like your arm disappears.
You had a transplant from that person, and it just goes and like destroys you. Damn, dude. Dang, I feel like that could get out of control like so quickly, but maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it's just that we don't know about DNA.
What? Are you saying we don't know about DNA?
Yeah, right. You say we're not experts?
Come on.
I mean, we went to the, how to call it? We did a lot of like online courses on YouTube and watching this shit and reading a lot of Wikipedia.
I played video games. I saw Jurassic Park. Come on, man.
But you know what's funny? At the beginning when I was starting to talk about, when you go up the mountain, you closer to space, that, because space is cold, you basically closer to the cold, and the warmth from the sun gets trapped more on the bottom, like than in the sky, because the warmth gets absorbed by masses more than by air.
Space, yeah.
And so basically the ground gets charged with the heat from the sun, and then when you go up more the sky, then there's less ground, whatever, and you're closer to the space, whatever. But I have no fucking clue, anyways. So the thing was more all these things that we talk about, man, and it's just realization again. I've once, of you guys for sure too, did a lot of like nonsensical research on it, like on did you guys like research how nuclear stuff works and viruses and clean energy and AI and space travel and all this shit?
Did we research it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And like, did you spend a lot of time doing that?
No, I'm kidding. I didn't research any of this shit.
Really not?
He was just saying.
Really?
Sometimes when I'm curious about something, I read a Wikipedia page or something. But other than that,
and now Google shows you like the first paragraph of Wikipedia, so you don't even need to get to Wikipedia.
Yep.
Fuck. because I just okay, then it's just maybe me, because I spent like fucking a lot amount of time doing like that research because I was just interested in shit, right? But now the last couple of years I just focused more on martial arts and personal development, so I put away information that's actually not useful to me.
There you go.
It's interesting, but it's not useful. And now when I talk about it, there are like some leftovers in my head, but I feel like, oh man, you knew that once, but you forgot.
Yeah. You know, there was one time I was doing research on dimensions, like we exist in like a 3D environment, right? And I remember as I was going deeper in it, they were explaining that one of the theories that we have is that uh, for whatever reason, beings from one dimension can only see in the like one dimension under. So, for example, our vision is a two-dimensional vision because if you're looking at a cup, you only see the front of a cup. It's like you're looking at things through like a movie camera or something like that, right? So then a being that would be two-dimensional would only see one dimension, which is supposed to be like a line or something. Then so, and up until that point, I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense to me because that sounds like a problem of your eyes and not the problem of the dimension you're in. But sure, I mean, I can understand this. But then they were like, okay, so a being in 4 dimensions, they would have a 3 dimensional view, which would mean that if they look at a cup, they would see all of the sides of the cup at the same time. They would see like the back of the cup, they would see the front of the cup, they would see like probably like the inside of the cup. And when I got there, I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is starting to hurt. And then they were like, but a 5th-dimensional being would see in 4 dimensions, which would mean that not only would they see the sides of the cup and the inside, they would also see through the cup. And I was like, and I remember like I started crying when I got to that point. And I was like, I'm done with this research. This is I think I'm at my brain's limit. Like I literally just got to the borderline of just like dying from researching this. So yeah, so I feel like there's certain things along that line that I'm like, oh, this sounds really interesting, but no, thank you.
Yeah, and going back to something also that you mentioned, like I had a time and I tried like apps that teach you stuff, science stuff and stuff like that. And I always just find myself like falling out of them because it's not information that's useful for me at the moment. And yeah, it creates like kind of interesting conversations sometimes, like sometimes you can use it like right now you kind of explain how waves work and stuff, and I think that was really cool. But I think there's a lot of, I don't know where this comes from, maybe it's from the time before internet or something, but that if you know like scientific shit, you can have better conversations in general. And I really like don't think about it anymore. Like it's not like that anymore, I don't think. And like I love learning, but it's hard. Like there's you could just learn all the time, and not really know anything anyways because of how many things there are. So it's important to be selective, I think. And yeah, that's kind of my point.
And it's the crazy thing because even if we haven't done the research, we can sound like we know what the hell we're talking about, right? And then sometimes people who know a lot, they don't sound like they know what's going on. And even if we know a lot about something, in 10 years, that something might be completely different because down the line, we just figure out something that explains it way better. So it's like, yeah, you could spend your whole life just learning about things, just researching a topic, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't mean you were going to end up knowing everything about it or knowing even much.
There's with the dimensions things, actually, like where those are, I imagine they are like extrapolations of what we imagine, because we cannot like show a being from 4th dimension, right? That I know of, I think. But I've seen even like interactive games, or games, interactive things that actually let you like represent things in the fourth dimension or stuff like that, and actually it's like things disappear or twist and stuff like that because we cannot see actually the fourth dimension, so it just looks like it disappears for us or something. What? Like what? Like what is this? Like how? Like who came up with this? Like.
Well, I think the way I would explain it is if you imagine like a two-dimensional being again, and they see in one dimension, they see a line. If you had only a line of vision of the world would look like a bunch of dots, a bunch of like dots in a sequence, so to speak. So if you were looking at a cup, that cup would look like a certain color, but then at some point, like parts of it would start to disappear because the cup, some cups at the bottom are like narrower or smaller. So like it would be with this one thing, and then the sides would become a different thing. It would start like to melt with the background, and you would also maybe like not even like have like a depth perception. So all the things would be like meshed together in the same like yeah. And this I feel like this yeah.
So they say science is not religion, but like you have to have faith to believe like in other dimensions, really, because what? Like it's crazy, it's crazy, it's crazy. It's cool to think about it though, and like I definitely think it's really cool to go through these rabbit holes and just see what comes out of it. Just research and learn and cause yeah, at the end of the day, like the mind expands at the very least, or contracts when things get too freaking crazy.
God damn.
Man, so thinking about it now, looking back, I was so curious about the world and how it functions, and like like all the questions you ask yourself, like how is this all working? Why am I here? Like why is the universe expanding, and when then we're into, and all these questions and questions and questions. And so the last year was like, I just gave it up. I just I settled down. I was like, you know what? I don't know how the news works, and I don't care. I just don't care. I just don't care anymore. I know, like, I'm living. That somehow, whatever that means, I'm here. I can do stuff. So I'm gonna spend the time doing things that make me feel good, alive, happy, whatever. And then I stopped also, like, just researching things, because I also feel like technology is evolving in such a fast pace that once you, even when you finish something researching, there's already something new, and then you have to catch up with that. And I feel more like it's the same thing with TV shows, where like, you just finished a complete, like a season or a TV show, and then like, there are already like 7 other ones in the same genre, whatever, they look more intriguing than the other one. You're like, man, there's so many things, I cannot watch them all. And so actually taking a step back and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna disconnect with all this shit now, and keep my head, like out of it. Since then, I have a very, very peaceful life. It's like I don't think too much about what is, what was, what's gonna be. Like whatever is, whatever happens, and that's like my newest motto thing. And yeah, that's why the research stuff, if it's intriguing, cool. But other than that, I don't bother anymore with it. That's my take on it.
You know, the idea of like there's a lot of people that I've heard tell me like I want to live in a countryside because then I would go out of my house, there's nobody there, I get relaxed. And I had a time when I would be like that, I had a time when I was like, yeah, I want to be, but I need the internet, it's something that I quickly realized since I've been moving around a bit. Like it's part of me now, and I'm not saying it's gonna be like that forever, but really like there's no internet for 1 hour, and I start thinking about like who am I going to kill, like how am I going to riot. like what place am I going to burn? Like it goes crazy how many things are connected, which it's creating a dependency of people like me that actually want to use it all the time or use things that use it all the time. So, uh, like I feel like I'm really far from that mindset right now that I could just be somewhere for a while without internet, and that's weird because I swear to you, maybe a few years back I could have done it without a lot of trouble, but like I've changed a lot in the last 5 years or so, maybe.
But I wonder though, if you were put in a position in which that was like the only option, or that was like really appealing to drop from the internet, I think you would be able to do it. I think I think what happens is, when we're having our normal day to day, and we know that the world hasn't really changed, but we don't have internet. We're like, oh, we're trying to do things as the same as before. But I think if there would be like a crazy thing that would happen that would like shut down all technology, whatever that means, because there's technology that's not electronics, and no one had internet, I think it would be like, oh fuck, we don't have internet for a few days, and then would be like, what's the internet?
What was that?
Because I think the body's like really good at adjusting. Because maybe this kind of seems like when we're dependent on, I don't know, like a type of food or like I don't know, like a certain thing that we eat. After a while, your body's just like, okay, I guess I'm not having this thing anymore. So
Yeah.
I think you would get used to it.
It's
Right
like
now it doesn't seem like it, but it's because your body's like, we know this is temporary, so
Yeah.
we'll just go crazy for now.
it's like fat food grease, fat food grease. Like even in China, I had times where I was like, oh, I need some McDonald's because you don't get it as much over there. You don't get all kinds of fast food all the time. So like some days I would be like, yes, I just need some McDonald's today, and then I would be like, shit, why'd I did that? But still worse. But
Um, yeah, I just want to say that to Rafa's point, I think you're completely right. Like humans, man, we are adaptation machines, man. We, like take it away from you, we're gonna maybe throw a tantrum for a while, but after a while, we're just gonna get used to it.
Yeah.
People get used, man, to the weirdest fucking conditions, man. There are people living on the North Pole, or like people who spent years in prison, man. At one point they get also used to the shit, or like people who like spent a year in space.
Yeah.
They get used to that shit, or like living in the desert. And humans are actually fucking adaptation machines, man. They're like everywhere. They're literally, I think, like everywhere on this planet and even space.
yeah, it's funny that you mention it because we are adaptation machines to a fault. Like we don't just get adapted, we get bored. Like
Yeah.
someone's in space and after a year they're like, oh yeah, I work in space, and people are like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh
Yeah.
it's
No big
another
deal.
day at the office,
Yeah. And normal 9 to 5.
So that is kind of the dark side. I feel that part, like, always need something else to get adapted to get excited to.
Oh, I feel like that's an interesting way to look at it. And even your example, Darko, of like people that go into space, if they stay long enough up there, when they come back, they are fucked because they can no longer like deal with the Earth, like the gravity of the Earth, and their body just gets all kinds of fucked up. So even to that degree, we can spend a whole lifetime here and then go up there for a little bit and then come back and then we're all fucked again. It's like we
had that.
And I've been exploring recently because we like to say that human beings don't like change, but I think I'm certain, like, I've been exploring the idea that maybe that's not true, that maybe it's the opposite. Maybe certain types of change we're like, oh no, we don't want to do this thing. But maybe for most of it we're kind of like looking forward to change, to things not stagnating.
Okay. I would phrase it differently. I think humans don't like change, but I think humans like challenges. You know what I mean?
Elaborate.
And that comes with change, and then they're like, like this challenge is so appealing that I'm willing to change for it. But without that challenge, I would not, like, why would I go through change? Because change is, like, why?
Oh, I guess I can subscribe to that, because then the way I would combine it with what I was saying is that when the challenge does not seem appealing, that's when we resist the change. So we're like okay with change as long as we don't notice it, or it creates an interesting challenge. But then if it creates a challenge that we don't want to endure, then that's when we resist it.
So that's why we have drama, right? That's kind of where I'm going, because I'm like, yeah, I could think of a lot of people who will never admit to wanting challenge in life, right? They want just easy life, but then you see these same people like bringing drama into their lives in one way or another, and that's subconsciously is challenge, They are creating problems where there are none by, I don't know, fighting with their spouses or something, and then it's like this is their challenge, This is how they get a kick out of life again, So
that's an interesting. They're almost like creating that space of everything is fine, but I'm going to create some chaos in it, just to create some.
Man, change. So that's a perfect topic, man, because that topic I had with my friend before I left to Croatia a month ago, and so you remember, like a month ago or something, I was like more in a negative state.
Yeah.
Like not really wanted to go, whatever, or like just being annoyed. And I talked with my friend, and she's like, I think I understand, and it's this, like, we have it really fucking good and nothing to complain about, and you're so happy all the time that you get used to it, that you want something different.
Mm-hmm.
And so you put yourself, like, to tell back to the thing you said, it's a drama thing. It must not be a challenge. It might just be, then again, just some variety. You don't want to feel just one kind of emotion. If you like, because you have so many on the spectrum, right? So you want to live them through. You're a human being, and so you might again like introduce drama or whatever, challenges drama. People come up with all kinds of shit just to feel maybe different things. Maybe it's an emotional thing,
So it's back to change then.
Yeah.
It's back to change. It's like friction, If you stop moving, it gets cold. So you just have to kind of keep like shifting from side to side to create that heat, or that's how friction work by movement. So it's like we need to have that roller coaster.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, it's fine. And it's not because that maybe we don't like just going up or down. It's just we like both at different times in our lives. Alternatively, maybe.
Just say something again. Like, Rafa, do you remember back in Kunyoshan, like every time somebody asked me, like, how do you feel? And I was like, fantastic, best day of my life.
What was that?
So every time we would go and we'd be like, yo, Darko, how you doing? He'd be like, fantastic, man. Best day of my life. And yeah. At the start, I was like, is this guy like fucking with me?
For real?
Because like I keep asking him and he keeps saying the same thing.
But it was the fucking truth. And here's the thing. At one point, seriously, like, like my life is so good. So good. I was so, like, at that time also, now it's also fucking fantastic. But I had this period, like in China, like for months and months, my life was just fucking fantastic, and really, like, every day was fucking great. And then I've noticed something that, like, fuck, I'm happy all the time. It's starting to annoy me. And I was like, I was had some conversation with like people, and like there was Macy, and she was like, man, you should just watch the movie, what is it called, Saving Private something. Right. It's like, if you want to feel different kind of emotions, like, watch that movie. And but here's really the thing. What I've noticed was really in that time, I was really happy the whole time. Happy. And at really, like, at one point, I was just like, man, I want to feel something different. I want to cry again. I was really, like, seriously, like, I was seeking, because you have to imagine my whole life. So the last years were basically this last 1-2 years. out of the 365 days, I had 362 good ones and maybe 2-3 bad ones. And I really appreciated the 2-3 bad ones. I really did, And so for me, like, just being happy the whole time, because like naturally, I'm more like a melancholical type of person. And so being happy the whole time, I was like, man, this is annoying.
You were getting high on it first.
And so I had to really and then when I left Kunyashan and I spent time with myself in the apartment. So being a little lonely, I also challenged myself with going through my insecurities and laying them out and going through them and just really go through the past and working the stuff up, because really I want to do it before I leave China. I went through some memories and traumatic experiences in my head, so I walked myself through this stuff, just being honest with myself, and then I had this moment where I just cried. I was really sad, and but at the same time happy because finally,
basically you failed.
So like I was like really this moment where like I encountered my insecurities and I cried and it was really pathetic and I fucking loved it. And it's just that. And so yeah, I totally understand, man. You don't want to feel just one thing, man. You don't want to experience just one thing. You and then here's that, and that's a contradiction, right? Because you don't want change at the same time you don't want the same at the whole time. So we are like, so humans are fucking walking contradictions.
So I wonder if it's one of those things that we say but aren't really true, but then we say it enough that we start believing it. I wonder if that's what happens with we not liking change, that we've said it so much that we believe it and we think we see it in the world, but then we don't notice all the constant change that's always going on. Mm-hmm. Something that I wanted to tie to what you were saying, because like it's like a pretty amazing story, is in some of the schools of thought, and we've spoken about this before, like Hinduism is one of them. They believe that this world is like a play, that there's a handful of gods, and the gods made basically like images of themselves, and they're here in this world playing roles. They're acting as if this was a movie, and all of us are like part of gods that have the ability to do anything, but they got bored and then they created this world to have like a different experience, and people often ask, like, if you had everything, why the fuck would you make this? And kind of like what you just said is almost like an example of that if you get to experience anything, and if you're in a spot in which you're like in bliss all the time, maybe you would want to take a break from that, because you would have all eternity. So what is 50 years of being here and trying to like make it through challenges and having a bit of a rough time when you came from like an eternity of like being happy all the time? Maybe you're bored of that.
Yeah, the idea of the world as a play also makes me think that everything is valid, like when you write a play and you have a bad guy and a good guy and a sad person and something happens and some people cry, some people get happy, like we don't go and say like, hey, no, you cannot have a bad guy on a play because that's bad, like we understand that has a part in this grand scheme of things, right? And so you were happy for however many days, but you understood that being sad was also a part of the grand scheme of things, and you didn't. I mean, you say you were happy because you were being sad. I would put it in like a more subtle way, that like things were in balance, or like you were just being in the moment, in a way. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, that was like the valid emotion that you wanted to have or had, and you accepted it, and that acceptance, sounded to me that it went deeper than just being like, it's okay to be sad, but it's okay to be sad in the world, like it's just how it is. It's
just as valid as any other,
as anything, right?
Yeah. You're right.
In this whole play of the world,
You're right. I was really, like, and now that you said that, I think, first of all, you're completely right. It's really like, hey, in that moment, we're realizing finally this is part of my being. This is part of me and part of the world. It's not just sunshine, it is also the rain, right? And you can see it in nature too, where it's not just beautiful tropical island sand beaches, it's also the plague,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's how it
It's
goes usually.
right. It's also like that shit happens too, and when that stuff happens, the more you appreciate the sunny days.
yeah.
So now thinking about the deeper wars and all this conflict that we have, that might also just be an urge to experience different kind of stuff. Just imagine being like Garden Eden and having it like a peaceful, perfect life. Again, tying back to the one thing you said, maybe we're like your higher being and blissful in eternity, and then 50 years of whatever here this challenge on Earth would be like nice extra change. But now, let's say it's human beings, we would achieve utopia and have like the perfect world. I'm not so sure if people want a perfect world.
No, I think that they definitely were like, wait, we get to be naked all the time? Nah, I want to put some clothes on, and then and then they created clothing because of that, like it's something totally different than what they would have had forever and ever, right?
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned something interesting about nature, Darko, and I was having the conversation with someone recently where we were talking about how they were telling me that I think the world, I think in like 2050, like the planet is gonna be so fucked by our pollution that we're gonna be all dead or something like that. Is what they were saying, and I have like a really weird relationship with the idea of like uh, global warming because human beings have convinced themselves that they are the ones like destroying the planet because we made stuff like plastic, and plastic falls into the ocean and then some seagull like gets stuck in the plastic and then dies. But when nature creates a hurricane, the hurricane isn't like, oh, there's a little squirrel here, I'm gonna go around and destroy everything else. No, nature's like, fuck everything that's on the way, this is a fucking hurricane, and it just wipes everything out. But we don't look at that as nature like destroying the environment, but we do look at nature manifested as human beings doing things that destroy the environment, and we do see that as being bad. So I feel like it also like comes into this space of maybe it's all valid because it's all happening at a different scale somewhere else as part of nature as well. So why would it be bad when it happens at another different scale?
Still part of the play, right?
Yeah.
Right. And but it's interesting to say that because now I hear myself.
Yeah, suddenly like your voice got like really
Super
powerful. Yeah.
I have a powerful voice. Just was thinking about the movie Tenacious D. Do you remember the movie?
I don't think I've seen that. Tenacious.
Tenacious D, yeah.
Black Jack.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
I don't think I've seen it.
No.
But yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
No, because I just want to say there's a scene where he sings, and then it's like, he sings, my voice is so powerful, and then a head explodes, in the audience. But okay, but I'm reversing here. So going back to the thing. Fuck, help me. What was it?
So we were talking. So yeah, like okay, I'll add something more. Like in acting, there's people who like to play the bad guys, and actually for me that's hard. Depending on what kind of bad guy, like it's really hard. but like I said, like without the bad guy, we don't have like conflict or whatever it is. So it's all kind of necessary. And we don't say that the people who like to play bad guys are bad persons, like
shit. That's a good point. Yeah.
It's just like you can't have the play without it. You can't have this play of life without it. And like what Rafa said also, that conclusion I was also kind of getting to it. Like we are here, we are nature, and we are kind of recycling the earth or destroying it or changing it in some ways. Like it's all part of kind of the same thing in a way. Like who knows where this will lead us, but
yeah.
Now remember like what you just said with the discussion that you had with your friend, that like destruction is happening at a different scale and manifested a different, like just on different level. And I just thought like that you could use it as really as an argument and be like, so when nature destroys states and islands, then it's okay. But when we fuck up the oceans and like, then it's like then it's like a bad thing. And just, I don't know why, but like it just went through my head like that. And my brain was like, you could actually use it to argue, like, like, you know what? Destruction is also part of our game. I just get nature to destroy things, man. We should fuck things up too.
Maybe we are nature's best destruction project, Where like volcanoes didn't destroy Earth, nothing destroy it. Let's create these things and they will destroy it.
And they will blame themselves.
They'll find a way. Yeah, nature was like, they'll find a way. They'll find a way, But like destruction, man, I enjoy destruction too. So there's like this joy of like like creating something. Did you guys play Lego?
Lego, yeah.
So when you create something and you finally finished, and you're like, "Fuck, this was," like I just created something, and you play with it.
I just created my best piece of Lego work ever.
Yeah, and then after a while, you just like get bored with it, and then like, you know what? Let's fuck it up, break it apart, and then you do it without hesitation, without even thinking too deeply about it.
And it's like you grab almost like all the pieces at once and try to destroy it as much as possible at the same time.
Yeah, it can be like little pieces. Because Lego, the fun part for me, it's like making it, right? And maybe I played with it a little bit, but I made it, and then you cannot make it again if you don't destroy it, right?
Yeah, but but now, like, look, when I like, I'm gonna share my feelings. So my feelings are this: I really enjoy the building part, but taking it apart again, piece by piece, till like nothing is like there's like nothing sticking together anymore, and you broke everything apart, but like there's no two pieces again together. I totally enjoy that part, man. The destruction part, man.
Piece by piece?
No, man. First like I do it big, and then I go into the little work, and then like, haha, little pieces. I'm gonna take you all apart. The ones who survive. Survivors, exactly, like mass extinction, and so like, like no pieces are left, like unharmed. And
that's interesting.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
To say that.
I think I told you guys, but there was this idea that I heard from Terence McKenna, in which he was saying that who knows if, because we're like, oh man, we created like nuclear weapons, for example, and they're really bad. But who knows if they're not? Who knows if nature made us so we would make nuclear weapons? Because nature by itself could not defend itself against like a huge fucking meteor, I mean, like planet Earth is just kind of like floating around space, and it knows that it's only a matter of time before something else wants to park wherever we are at, and it's gonna be really bad. So nature's like, let's create these creatures who can create weapons that can defend me. And here's where we are.
So what you're saying is that planet Earth is like an army, and it's just making like the play to make us more resilient, smarter, making us make weapons to participate into some kind of interplanetary war, maybe against other planets eventually.
And every once in a while, it just makes a storm that swoops through parts of the planet, just so we stay on our toes.
So I like that because it makes me think like then aliens are also competing with us, you know.
Yeah.
So they're trying. It's like who can create the best alien? Wow.
You think planet Earth is a competition with other planets?
Maybe that's kind of what we're getting at right now with our expertise.
But I really like that idea. You know, it might, who knows, like, you know, but it's true, right? Like a harmful or like a technology that seems harmful might be actually super useful, and the other way around too, right? Useful things can also be harmful. Like electricity is super useful, but then they use it for the electric chair and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it goes in both, right? It's really like just like a different touch on it. Technology really is not good or bad. It really depends on I guess who uses it and the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I would upgrade that and be technology is not good or bad. It's our defense against other planets that will attack us eventually.
Yeah. That's what defines the level, how good the technology is. Does it work? You know, I was just thinking about this.
Earth needs you.
Yeah. I was just thinking, wouldn't it be like a really cool idea if like all this that we're saying is true, and then every few like thousands of years we get locked into like gravity with another planet, similar like how the moon is with us. So it's like a battle of like the planets to like try to destroy the other planet and unlock it from your orbit, and then you keep on going
to keep your orbit, or you just fly through space.
Yeah, and
wandering planet style.
And maybe that's why like some people say that there aren't that many like advanced species on the universe, because eventually they get to the point in which they destroy themselves. But it's not that they destroy themselves, it's that they destroy each other because they're in combat. They're every few thousand years they need to like fight, so only one makes it.
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Battle Royale Solar System SS. Oh shit!
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Battle Royale SS.
Somebody should make a movie out of it.
Doesn't that sound like a really fucking cool idea?
Like humanity coming together, you know, to fight a different planet.
Yeah, this is the year of the fight against I don't know, like Nebula 5, and Nebula 5 has like its own like people, and they're like, this is the year that we're gonna fight Earth. You know, they were the ones that killed our ancestors. This is revenge.
Revenge.
They're like, listen to that stupid name, Earth. We gotta kick their asses. Yeah.
And their planet, they like engineered the environment or like the weather, so it looks like a really like angry face, like spinning around ours. And we've engineered ours, and it's like a huge flag and fire and something like that. I don't know. So
it's a huge flag. They're like, I bet they don't even have atomic energy yet. We just.
But man, I just had an idea. When we talk about engineering the planet, you know what I would do if I knew in 1,000 years, you know, like we have to battle different planets, and we're like super weak against them. I would, and the technology is present to use it. I would geoengineer, like, you know, like just the whole planet to make like super hostile, or like parts of it, so that, you know, basically just either you die because you're too weak, or but the people who survive get like super strong, and then the offsprings are just basically
that's what I think is happening though. Now we live longer than ever. You know, we resist more things. Like we are being engineered. That's kind of a part of the whole thing.
Yeah, man. I mean, when we get like fucking 100 years old, it's a long,
like
long
35,
time.
just like a few hundred years ago, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe the last time Earth fought, it was like a really long battle, and we lost it because they outlived us. And that's it. And that's the whole reason. Then nature was like, "Fuck, we need to figure out some shit. Here's a plague thing." And so let's start combing this DNA, and let's start picking out the bright stars.
Man, I just got my mom just came in. She's like, in 5 minutes I have to pick up my nephew from school.
Cool. Yep. It's been an hour, so it's been great.
Yeah. Well, it's really an interesting topic, you know. Life is coming.
That's how we do.
That's what we do. Okay, man, guys, it was super nice when chatting with you again. I've missed this. I was really looking forward to it, man, chatting with you again.
Yeah.
You know, this time I won't even say I was like nervous about not knowing what we're gonna talk. Like, I think I'm finally just used to not knowing anything, not preparing anything, and then everything going excellently. So thank you, guys.
Definitely, man. We got this down, man. Yeah. We should call us the improvisers.
The improvisers, yes.
The masters of improvisation, man. I would never ever. I was thinking about, you know, like the whole thing that we're doing, right? And but if I one day become a public speaker, man, I probably won't prepare any speeches. I just go for it.
Darko, about this right before we end, I was doing research this morning, because I was like talking to Edward the other day, and I was like, how the fuck do people who need speakers find speakers? Like, how the hell does this work?
Yeah.
And I found a few websites that you sign up for, and people can like find you on them and hire you, or they show you events that are going on that might be of interest to you, and then you can reach out to them and be like, "Yo, are you taking applications for speakers, or what's up?" So I'm gonna send you some of that stuff later.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it might be fun if we could get that started before the year ends.
Okay, get some action in, man. Let's get let's go like as OCs.
Yeah.
Free some there, you know.
That's a cool. Actually, I really like that idea. So yeah, let's explore that.
Yeah, fucking love it. Okay, guys, I have to hurry up.
All right, Darko,
that was great. Great show.
Fantastic.
Take care.
See you next week. Bye bye.
See you next week. Bye bye.
And don't forget to